Today on Metaphysical Mississippi, we have two sets of three sisters. We'll explore the dynamics of sibling relationships and where our spiritual gifts fit within that paradigm. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Metaphysical Mississippi. I'm your host, Emily, and today I have, of course, Krista, Sister Jennifer, and our special guests, Sunny, Janet, and Karen. And we're all sets of sisters. So how y'all doing?
We're good.
Hey, y'all.
We've got an exciting episode today. I thought of it when I met Sunny, and I had heard of Karen years ago, probably through
Yeah, I think she
Rainbow.
heard of you before I ever did. We just realized that.
Oh, really?
Robin Ian. So yeah,
because-
tell her.
Yeah. Oh, I don't really remember, but I had been in your shops, or I was just into the green living lifestyle. So I was into
yeah.
Rainbow and stuff. So, but not much of the metaphysical side of it. But just, being green and one with the earth and organic, this and that. So, but you were kind of on my radar, but I didn't really know when Krista had mentioned Karen Parker in passing when she's about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, when you started in your metaphysical. You'd mentioned the name, but I never connected who you were with that name. But, and I met Sunny I reached out to you, Karen, when Krista told me who you were and your relationship with Duane, and then I looked you up on the internet, and I like to say I Google stalked you, and
Oh Lord,
found some interviews. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know all the history that you had and how you really brought the community together.
Absolutely.
And I was like, that's so fascinating. And then now Krista's kind of taken on a little bit of that role. And then when I found out you had 2 other sisters, and then I met Sunny at the meetup, and I was like, oh, we have got to do an interview as 3 sisters, because Krista had already shared that each of you have giftings that you work through. You have your own practice. And I am going to want y'all to share just a little bit about your practice. Mm-hmm. And I don't really have it figured out as much as probably y'all do. But would y'all like to go on and share? You want to start with you, Karen, since you're the...
we can. Yep.
I don't want to say
I'm the oldest. I get to go first, right? Is that better? Okay.
Yeah,
she's bossing me. Telling me to move over. Okay. Well, I kind of don't know where to start. I don't really have, I guess what you're asking is, do we have gifts that we use and that sort of thing? Let me just tell you, mine is just who I am, and I just live my life every day through synchronicity and through living with my spirit helpers and my higher self, and looking to them for guidance. I don't really have a talent per se, but I do receive a lot of messages. I do get a lot of information downloads. I do have guides that I speak to all the time. And I do used to teach a lot of classes, still have taught some classes about different things, like everything from rocks and crystals to oh gosh, I can't even channeling. Yeah. Doing vision boards, all that kind of stuff. But I just live my life every day like that. I don't have anything like Sunny does that I can go out and say, okay, I can do this for you. But I am kind of developing something. I'm kind of developing a way to do like little small readings using rocks and stones. So that might be fun. I'm still kind of working on it, still trying to figure it out, but it sounds like a lot of fun. But I'm a dreamer. I have a lot of dreams, do a lot of work through my dreams. So yeah, and I do channel for some people. It's not like like the what you
A
might
star
think of.
command or something.
Yeah, my eyes don't roll back in my head. I don't, do that kind of thing. But it's like when I'll get a really strong impulse to tell somebody something, and I know that's my guides telling me to tell them something. It's coming from my higher self. So anyway, that's it for me.
All right.
And can I
Okay.
add something?
Yeah.
And one thing that you are also, Karen, is you are, what is the word? I'm going to use adjectives instead of nouns. No, I'll use a noun. You are an encourager and a cheerleader and a, I don't know if way shower is the right word, maybe. And that's, I can say that as, because that's what you were for me, like you held my hand through a lot of things. So
Thank you.
that is a talent and a gift. So
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I don't see it that way, but yeah, I guess it is, because I've really done that for most of my life. Yeah. Thank you.
A gift giver.
Gift giver. Yeah.
So yeah.
She's always been like that with us too. Always been our biggest cheerleader, and the one that when we had an opportunity, she would make sure that we got it. And that we had every opportunity to introduce ourselves to different things. And so she's been that way for us forever.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
What about Janet?
Hey.
Now your Sonny shared with me that she chose to be the youngest of the two of you, and she kicked you out of the womb.
That's right.
Yeah.
She said, hurry, you're taking too long. Hurry up.
Well, I'm kind of like Karen. I don't have a gift quite as spectacular as Sonny's, but I have my gifts. I have a few gifts. My one of my gifts is spatial relations, and that's sort of difficult to explain, but it's like I intuitively know where things go, and not only placement of objects, but sort of how conversations fit together, and different parts, how people work. And but I have channeled that into feng shui and some other things, but feng shui is my big one. I use it and I teach classes on it and I practice it. I'm a practitioner, and but my very first love was Reiki, and I studied Reiki when out in Oregon before anybody really knew what it was, and 30-something years ago, and studied with some real high ups in the line, and Dr. Yusui's granddaughter. I learned a little bit from her, Phyllis.
Oh, wow.
And so I had an innate ability to heal with my right hand. And so I learned about that and tried to figure out why and all about it. And one day I went in and there was a Reiki flyer flapping in the breeze for no reason. And yeah, it was waving at me. And I pulled the number down and called, and that's how I got into Reiki. It was a long time ago. So, and my art, I am an artist, and I do that, try to do that for a living, and I'm working on that. I don't want to be a starving artist, but I have had getting closer to that. Actually, she's an incredible artist.
She's phenomenal.
This picture behind us, she did too. I don't know if you can even see.
Goodness, I see a little.
I have a lot of art in my house that she's done, and I think somehow when she starts to do an art piece, she thinks about it a long time, and then it just flows out, and it ends up being the most beautiful art that we wouldn't have even thought of doing it that way, but she certainly does, and I think she downplays that a lot, but I think that has to do with the spatial relations. I just sort of intuitively know how it goes ahead of time before I start painting.
Did you say
I paint for people?
Oh, okay. So at the beginning you said spatial. I wrote special relations. Okay, so
She's
spatial.
special, all right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder if that means that when you said special relationships, I was thinking, oh, could you do matchmaking?
I don't know. I
She's
might.
not very good at that, really.
Oh, now
But
that,
she's really useful when you move into a new place. She comes and decorates your whole house. So that's really great.
oh, that is.
We need all the feng shui we can get.
Oh, I bet you do.
Now feng
Well-
shui, that's a Japanese art form also, isn't it? A
Japanese and Chinese. It's the art of placement.
Love it. And
It's has there are 9 facets of it, but like, for instance, money, love, relationships, health, career, family, et cetera, et cetera. It's just creativity. So there's a lot of different aspects to it, but I try to address that in people's homes, like those areas of the house. You can boost it up for whatever you're looking for.
And we need all the help we can get.
right.
Yes.
And you're not the first feng shui practitioner that I've met that's also a Reiki practitioner. So that's kind of an interesting.
That's
Well,
neat.
Well, I don't know much about the feng shui, but it is energy, right? As well.
Yes, it's
a-
the name feng shui means wind and water, and it's basically how qi moves like wind and water through your home, and how you want to keep that moving. It's also in your life, your lifestyle, and you can feng shui yourself. And but that's a part of the learning about feng shui, is how to show people how to do that.
And is part of it setting up the space that's conducive to that, and also removing blocks that are
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there are a lot of blocks. So, and the blocks are different for different people. So you have to get to know the individual a little bit and go into their space and kind of feel it out. And it's an intuitive thing.
Mhm.
And you learn more. The more you practice it, the more you learn. And I went to the New York School of Design and studied design, interior decoration, and feng shui. They had a whole feng shui school that you could go to, but I was already practicing before that. I just did it to enhance what I already had. So
She also taught a class to a group of mine, and I have to tell you, it was one of the best classes I've ever been to. She did an excellent job, and she's putting another one together now. So.
I also incorporate rocks and crystals and stones into my feng shui, so we kind of all do that.
Yeah. I love that.
And we're gonna get to Sunny in just a minute, but I did want to say I will link in the description information on how they can contact you, or we would be honored to also share on our Metaphysical Mississippi website, metaphysicalms.com, anything that y'all have coming up,
Thank you.
to put
That's
it out
great.
there and share it with, we'd love that. But I'll put information with on the notes on YouTube, as well as the
Thank you.
podcast.
That's great. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
So I have a question that I don't know if I should save for later, but it's a question
Do you want to say, you can
because
ask
I
it
want us
now.
to get to Sunny, but this is going to kind of go back to like a childhood question. When y'all were little, were y'all all interested in rocks?
We all
Yes.
collected them.
Our grandmother started that when we had a gravel road, and she
That
would
was our rock
find
collection.
special rocks and show us, and she was real interested in them, fascinated with them, and she'd say what she thought they looked like and everything, and it really brought us to thinking about rocks. And then as we discovered there were more kinds of rocks and crystals and all that sort of thing, we just naturally gravitated toward it.
And I think we kind of experienced that too. As children, we just liked to play with rocks, but I think our grandma Adams
Oh yeah.
and Granny, there was a gravel pit not far from our mother's house that they would take us to. But also our father's mother who had some Native American heritage. She
She would steal gravel and put it in the floorboard of her car and take it and gravel her driveway. And she graveled her entire front driveway by stealing other people's gravel. We love you, Grandma.
Sounds like our family.
I think we had pet rocks. And I think we would get
Well, we
rocks.
also lived right by the levee
We lived by a levee
that
that
had all kinds
by
of
a
gravel.
river. And
We did
Party
too.
room.
We did too.
On this visit home, that's one of the first things I do is I go find, because I work with land and we'll talk about that later, but I do grids and things and connect places.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Stones from my home, I get them and I take them to Hawaii and I say, okay, now you meet you. You know.
so I didn't mean to sideswipe Sunny, but I just, when y'all both mentioned there, I was like, oh, I wonder if, when they were kids, if they had an affinity to rocks.
Yeah.
So
Sure did.
yeah. So Sunny, if you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Where should I start? I was in a fundamentalist Christian background for 25 years. So one of the things that I did in church was hands-on healing, and I really believe that. And when I left that environment and got a divorce and moved back to Jackson, that sort of opened up because I wanted to be a healer. I believe that was the greatest calling to humankind. And again, Karen, I always cry about this, but anyway, Karen opened the door for me to find someone who could teach me Reiki. And she told me what it was. I had no idea about all this stuff. And she opened the door for me to find a Reiki teacher. And I'm down the lineage from Dr. Usui too. And anyway, I learned that and I practiced it for quite a while and somehow just used the stones in it. And then I did some sort of channeling, but I saw spirit guides and those who've crossed over for these people. And it just evolved into something that I had no idea was even out there. And from that, I was really interested in going into the shamanic field as a progression. And again, Karen opened up that door for me, and I did a lot of traveling to go to those classes and stuff, and used it and still use it to journey. I even use it to find things I've lost, and which is really
Good.
fun.
I've got something you need to find.
Okay. But anyway, from there, with the crystals, I really was, again, went to market with Karen for the store that she opened up, New Vibrations, and walked in and just heard the stones and the humming and all the energy they put off. And I told Karen, I've got to go around this way. So I did. And I ended up in front of this huge booth that had all these crystals with it. And the lady walked up to me. She said, do you know you're a healer and that you're going to be buying stones or getting stones for her store? And so
she didn't even know I was going to open a store.
no.
We had never seen her before.
And it was, and being from a Christian background, I'm thinking, oh wow, this is a lot of woo-woo. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But and then one day we went to market for her store, and on the trip, as sisters do, we were laying in the hotel room, trying to go to sleep and talking like we do. And all of a sudden I stopped Karen. I said, Karen, you're pink. And she said, what? I said, you're pink and blue and purple. She said, well, you're seeing my aura. And I said, what's an aura? So that was a spontaneous thing that happened to me. And I became an aura reader and intuitively knew what the auras meant and everything. And that's what I practice now more than anything on the psychic fairs and everything. But it's become channeling also. I see the colors, but the information comes from guides and those people who have crossed over that want to give a message, things like that. But anyway, that's what I'm practicing now, and of course I can incorporate any of those practices together as well. And it's my greatest.
Intuit rocks.
I do intuit rocks very much, and I did a lot of intuiting at the store. Yeah, it became just a part of me to be there for people and to help them heal. And my aura readings do that. It's been very successful for the people that have come to get an aura reading at the psychic fairs. And I just, it's my greatest honor to be able to help people.
I just have to say about Sunny that when she worked at the store that I opened, she was literally reading auras. She was seeing the colors. She was learning to identify what those things meant. But now it's a whole new ball game. It's so intuitive with her. And I wanted her to read me when she first started reading them at the center. And when I walked in, I thought, well, this might not be wonderful because, you know, she's my sister, she knows me, and, you know, and so she'll probably just kind of tell me some stuff I already know. But honey, let me tell you, I was weeping in tears. I was so taken with the things that she said and the way she did it. It was magical. It was absolutely incredible. So if she hasn't read you, I'm telling you, you need to get a reading.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I believe that.
just for people who may not know, you're referring to a psychic fair. Is this where?
It's at Soul Synergy Rocks and Crystals. That they have a psychic fair once a month.
Gotcha, that one.
And I'm only able to go every other month. So because I work on Saturdays. So if you know the psychic fair is coming up, call and ask if I'm there. Or
She'll be there in December.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Good, good.
We should do
Better be careful though. I'll get you.
Well, I mean, just quick question to Janet too. Do you have a website or Facebook page or a if someone was interested in getting you as a client wanted feng shui?
Well, I am working on a website. It's just in the very beginning stages, but we're working on it. I have business cards with the email address on it, but I don't have the web page up yet. So I'm working on that.
Well, it's fine for me to put your email address. I'll put those in the.
Okay,
If you're
that'd be
ready
great.
for it.
All right.
I also operate over a email. I find it the things that I do are very personal.
Yeah.
And need to be kept confidential, you know, things like that. So I don't really have a website yet. That may be coming. I've been told that things are about to amp up for me and my life and the things that I do. So maybe that's a catalyst. I don't know, but I've got a email that a personal private email just for the aura reading and stuff.
But the good thing is they can find you at Soul Synergy.
Absolutely.
Usually at the, gotcha.
Mhm.
What about you, Karen? Do you,
Got a website?
well, yeah,
I do have a website.
Yes, you
I do have a
I've
website.
been to your website. But you know,
I
we
was
don't
playing.
you don't
It's called KarenParkerContinued.com.
oh,
And that's just what
website. Okay.
I haven't really advertised it that much, but you know, like she said, she was stalking me for a little while, so that was why she knows. But no, playing in them.
Visitor.
But I was getting a rock and crystal class together for the center, so that was one of the reasons why I built it, because I was going to start doing more and more of that. I was told to kind of step back and not do that until next year. So next year you'll see a little bit more, and I'll come out with it a little bit more.
I mean, I'm so new to this whole thing that I feel like 2023 is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be very exciting in the metaphysical here in Mississippi.
Yeah.
I'm vibrating as we're saying this, but no, and we'll continue. I'm gonna, Krista, do you want to just share a little bit about what you do? Is that okay if we just jump on that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I've shared about it on other podcasts, but what I'm doing right now today is the director of Metaphysical Mississippi, that Emily's helping me with, and and I feel very strongly. I feel Karen and Duane still like holding me up with that, even though y'all aren't with the day-to-day stuff with it. So that Emily and I are both realizing to go where we feel like it's wanting to go could easily be a full-time job for both of us, and it kind of has been.
We have plenty of work.
Yeah.
Just not the salary to match the work at the moment. Just not the income provision, but I feel it's coming. So.
But my day job, I'm also a Reiki practitioner, Reiki teacher, trying to get my teaching of Reiki off the ground, and recently opened this wellness center, holistic health and healing, with my partner Sherry Crook, and we have 5 other practitioners that are also here. So those 3 things, along with helping get the Mississippi Reiki Association off the ground in the past couple of years, that's what I'm doing.
Did you mention Just Be Holistic?
So Just Be Holistics is just the name of my my Reiki practice, which honestly has been like the redheaded stepchild lately. I did do some teaching this year, but I haven't really put a lot of energy into my own practice much this year, but I'm hoping for 2023 to find the time and energy to put into that. So I'm like y'all, Reiki, I've said it in other podcasts, Reiki and yoga were 2 of the things that really helped me on my spiritual path. So I just plan to do more of that in the future, however that looks.
And Krista is the oldest of the 3. I don't know if we said that yet to
I'm
the
the
audience.
oldest. Yeah.
And then Jennifer, do you want to share?
Sure. I'm the middle sister and the black sheep of the family. No, not really. Did I say I'm a special education teacher? So I have.
Oh, so was I.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've been doing that for about 22, 23 years. In 2010, I started to have an awakening process happen. I guess kind of what people call ascension process. And so I have kind of just been on a path of discovery for that. And I feel like now that's turned into when I was getting what y'all call downloads, and I started working with land energy, and I started doing a lot of barefoot hiking. And as I would hike all these mounds around the Mississippi River, Louisiana, Mississippi. And then we found out, well, we have Native American connection to this land.
Wow.
Yeah, I started just kind of like I'd walk barefoot everywhere, and I would get downloads from, I guess, Akashic Records. I'm not sure what. And then kind of get little, impressions. I didn't hear voices or anything. I would just know what to do to wake up sites and to kind of reprogram them.
There was like a 2 or 3 year period on and off where she was dragging me and Emily. I don't know if you did it as much as I did, but I didn't know what was going on, but she was going all over the country, going to mounds. I was like, okay, that sounds fine.
Y'all did it together.
I would just go because okay.
I honestly sometimes didn't even know what I was doing. And even now, when I
We
go
would bury Crystal, she'd buy those points and
quartz points.
Yeah.
And I probably have violated several rights that someday somebody's going to go there and be like, what are all these crystal points? Now, I try not to be disrespectful, but I was actually hearing ancestors. So I felt like, okay, I don't know if it's inappropriate, but ancestors talking directly to you or feeling like you're hearing them, and they need you to do something because the sites have been abandoned. and I happened to be there, and I don't feel like I'm special in that way. I just felt like I happened to be there, and I happened to start hearing them, oh, she's handy. Let's use her. So that kind of thing. And then I have I'm in Hawaii right now, kind of followed my partner there. And I was like, I'm not really sure why I'm there, but here recently, I think I'm there to kind of get some upgrades, maybe some codes from somebody was talking about Hawaii being, now this is where we're getting woo-woo, being like closely connected to Lemuria.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that you can kind of receive light codes. And I think that also, because I don't know why I'm in Hawaii, honestly, except that I went with my partner because he wanted to go. And they needed sped teachers really bad there. And so it kind of worked out for me, and my 3D world gave me a way to go and connect spiritually there. So I've been doing work connecting Hawaii and the mainland, and to these sacred sites and Natchez and around Louisiana. I connect them with my
You've done
own.
a lot of work with the volcano there.
Yeah, and just kind of just like, hey, get to know each other, and creating grids to strengthen the voice of the land.
We have a volcano here, right?
Right, and I work with the clay from that volcano a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
I work with clay and rocks too. It's getting to the point now where I feel like my special education job is actually my secondary thing. And I don't know, I call it grid worker. I'm also kind of like a portal, I'm kind of responsible for a portal that I'm supposed to be taking care of. I'm not doing a very good job of it. Back it up.
What kind of clay what do you do with the clay?
You can use it for so many things. In Mississippi, you can find clay in creek beds
Right.
frequently. And I found a source that is really, really health.
We won't divulge where that is.
I'll tell you later. I'll tell you privately.
Okay. Off camera.
But
I'm a potter. I was a potter for a long time, so I'm
it is
interested
very
in
beautiful
real
clay. It is like gray and red and purple and lavender. And I discovered it one day when I was someplace, and it began to talk to me, and so I began to harvest it. And I was not like I started using it for my own personal, and then I started doing research and found out. So, you can consume it. The Native Americans use it for medicines, for poultices and things, in pottery.
And they eat it.
And I eat it now. I've just recently, and it's not, something you have to be very careful. You don't want to
just don't go out in the backyard and dig up.
You make sure it's clean, you process it, you make it where your body can, I grind it, and then we get you make it very fine, and then you can just little bits of it. But it has helped me with diabetes. It has helped me with my intestinal issues. It will help you get rid of parasites in your intestines. And it's great for anytime you have a fever blister. If I get a little tingle, I feel like I'm going to get a fever blister, and I put a big wad of poultice that you can make from after you grind it. You mix it with water. You put it on any cut, sore, psoriasis, anything like that. It will heal it. Rashes, and there's just a lot of things you can do with it.
Wow.
So that's the thing I work with.
Makes a great skin mask too.
Oh yeah, and facials, and you can put after you grind it, you dry it and then grind it. And the sad part is after you dry it, it changes colors. It's like it's never blue and gray and lavender again. Once you take it out of the ground, you can still see some of the red in it, and different iron deposits in it some places, but it's like if you grind it and you take a handful and you put it in a hot bath, like you put maybe a half a cup or a ground clay in there, and you soak in that bath, it will detoxify you, and it will also add minerals back to the body, like Epsom salts will. And then you can do we can make masks. You can do full body mask. One thing we did when we were in Florida is we would take it and we would have ceremonies with yoga practitioners, and we would be on the beach so you could have yoga practice and put the clay on, then go in the ocean and rinse it off. And then the body mask mixed with the salt water, it would just be like, oh, this is great. Just really
Wow.
talks, things like that. I also have a partner that is working with something called Ormus. And I don't know if you've heard of it. It is an ancient medicine. I think it goes back to Egypt, and it's alchemy. And it's where it's an alchemical process where you derivative of Dead Sea salt, and it becomes it's kind of like a metaphysical medicine. So it
Wow.
also works on different chakras, and it works on the physical body. It also works on the spiritual body.
Hmm.
And, on the etheric level. So that's his thing. And I just kind of support him in that. He's the alchemist. He makes that. And I support him in that. I mean, as far as like we found, as you make the Ormus, it's good to have a masculine and feminine presence around when you're making it. So you have a balanced, because it's etheric when you're making it. It's also
Wow.
metaphysical and physical.
Wow.
So that's kind of
cool.
what I'm doing. Sounds like a lot.
It is. Fascinating
awesome,
stuff. Yeah.
Emily.
Oh, and y'all know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. No, I'm just joking. I would say that I got into many Christian fundamentalists. I took my metaphysical inklings to more of a Christian, and I didn't even realize it, like where, I'm speaking to God and getting things, and his Bible is right there and it comes to me. I can open it up and go straight to the scripture I need, or I just started devotional writing. I don't know where things came in, but I would look at my writings and I'm like, when did I write that? That's not me. And I'm artistic as well, but I do not apply myself. This has not been a season for me to use. I have an interior design degree as well. But
Wow.
I have always been a space. I put things in spaces, and I build a website. So that's me too. I write stories like this avenue that I'm doing now through. And thankfully, I started with Granny's Front Porch over 10 years ago.
And then Big Magnolia Green.
Right.
And I tried to do
Where I
that.
had visions of, organizing our lives, things, life, making a story. I saw it in floor plans. I saw it in, a blog, pictures,
Right.
talk about issues in the kitchen, talk about issues in the bathroom. I'm a dreamer. I have been a dreamer all my life. And I think of things that way. And so I'm also the youngest and the quietest, and I'm not a public speaker. And I usually
That's changing.
never get a word.
That's changing.
Yeah, she's going to be the loudest talker.
I never get a word in, and or I would stumble and tongue tied.
You know how many times I keep wanting to finish her sentences more? And I'm like,
You're doing good.
I'm doing good. I know.
But basically, I'm evolving. I feel like I'm an very old, wise soul, and that I just listen. But my calling is to share people's story.
Oh, wow.
That's my calling, and to no, it's not me. I never want it to be me. I want to just. I'm not trying to be Oprah, but
Why not?
it's never about me. I don't feel a need to share my story. Well, mine's evolving, but other people need to share my story. And I love it when people share their story and they're excited. I love to shine the light on other people. I just love it.
That's a gift.
it is so much fun
It is
to,
a real gift.
or to help them get to that idea. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like to brainstorm, creatively with someone.
Collaborating.
Collaborate is so much fun. And I didn't even know I had this in me. And I appreciate, I started doing it on Granny's front porch, but I have been connecting with birds and my ancestors. And I didn't even know it was called ancestor veneration. Wait,
Ancestral veneration.
I didn't even realize I had that. And that I'm realizing I may be a conjurer. And my grandmother and her mother before her, and we're spiritual conjurers through prayer. We're prayer warriors. We pray.
Yeah.
We did it in the back, and that my prayers do have power. So my season, I've been struggling with intention. So learning intention.
Wow.
And learning, and how do you petition? How do you, is the intention of a prayer? What is am I trying to control this outcome?
Well, because I think part of what we're learning is the power in the prayer is to do the prayer and then release the need to have the power over the prayer.
Yeah.
The power of prayer is to pray without needing the power of it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But I do know what I'm trying to say. It's not coming out.
I understand. But anyway, so that's where I am. And I'm trying to learn. And I was so afraid of tarot cards. And I thought that was so silly. And but I've been doing it with my Bible. And I realized
You can.
That's a divination tool. The Bible's a divination
right.
tool.
But what it is, it's not anything. This is nothing I learned. It's something that was passed down.
Wow.
I do feel I inherited it. Y'all have inherited it as well. And I did want to get to this too and ask you just to touch on when did everything that was opened up to you three, was it modeled for you by, your ancestors, or was it something that just evolved later in life? But anyway, we will take a break for a moment. Make sure to check out our website, metaphysicalms.com. We have some exciting things coming up in 2023. We're starting pop-up meetups throughout the state of Mississippi. Check out our Get Involved page to see just how you can. Also, if you enjoy our content, you now can buy us a coffee. Let's get back to their answers.
Yeah, go ahead and answer it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of it came from my mother and from her mother. We call my grandmother, we called her Tay Tay. So when we talk of Tay Tay, she's our woo-woo grandmama. But she was an artist. She's very much a free thinker, and she's born in 1914, and she was well ahead of her years. And she everything was fascinating to her. Everything was an adventure. Everything was interesting. She loved people's stories, like you, Emily. She just loved to pull that out of people. And she didn't have to say 2 or 3 words. You just sit there and tell her everything. But my mother, I can remember my mother when we were young. We were not raised in a formal religious home. My mother just let us choose what we wanted to do. And some of us went to church with friends, and some of us went to church or didn't go to church at all. And we just kind of found our own way. But my grandmother, we come from a family of Episcopalians, and they were very big in the church in their own times. And I heard that all my life. Never had gone to an Episcopal church. My mother belongs to an Episcopal church now, but she never made us go. And just in the scope of our lives, my grandmother, I think our Tete was the one that sort of put fascination with the world and the way things work and different things like that. For example, I'll give you a quick example. I was probably about 9 years old, and I'm standing on her back porch looking at the stars with her. And she says, Karen, do you believe there's life on other planets? And I went, oh, yes, I do. I was so excited that I got to talk about it, because when I was 9, I'm 65 now. When I was 9 years old, nobody was talking about it. And I said, yes, I do. I said, do you? And she said, yes, I do. She said, surely we're not the best God can do. So that sort of laid the groundwork right there. And anything that we did with our imaginations, whether it was artwork or it was storytelling, and we come from a family of storytellers. We love, when we get together, we tell each other stories. Well, let me tell you what happened to me. And was our way of entertaining each other. But my mother, when I was young, again, when she woke up one Saturday morning and came out to the living room where we were sitting, and she said, well, I had a dream that I was in ancient Egypt last night. And she said, I'm thinking that maybe I'm reincarnated. And I was like, wow, okay, I gotta look at that. And it just, it sort of seeded interest in us. Some of us kind of turned away from it and then came back to it, and some of us never left it. But I have funny stories to tell about me being kicked out of Sunday school when I was about 9 or 10 years old because I asked too many questions, and it was just one of those things. And then when I was like in the 7th grade, I was reading all the books in the library in what was then called the occult section, which is now the New Age metaphysical section, but back then it was the occult section. I read all the books by The Ghost by Hans Holzer. I read ESP by J.B. Ryan. I mean, I was like 7th grade. I was just drinking it in. Jess Stern on reincarnation, everything. And I took a big book up to the desk to check it out. And the lady said, you can't check this out. I said, why not? And she said, because you're checking out too many books in the occult section, and I'm worried for your soul. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Well, I just went to the library and got them. It didn't stop me. So, and I think me as the big sister, and I'm 5 years older than them, I think as the big sister, one of the things I did was sort of pass my fascination on to them a little, talking about it, making them watch things like In Search Of when we were kids, and all the woo-woo mystery shows that they were just beginning to put out there and that sort of thing. So I think we came by it honestly, and we have kept the tradition up.
Definitely.
Now, are your brothers metaphysically inclined?
One of them is our younger brother is a very good medium. He's an excellent medium, and he used to actually do that at my store. So he did that for quite a while. Our older brother, he's really interested in a lot of things like UFOs and things like that, cryptids and things like that.
Nature.
Yeah, nature, anything in nature like that he loves. And so he's really into that. Has some wild and crazy things he catches on his cameras at his house.
Well, I need to talk to him one day.
I mean, like, whoa, like really, really.
Are they in
weird.
Mississippi as well?
Is he?
Yeah, they're in Holmes County, on our family land in Holmes County.
Well, our little brother is moving to North Carolina. His
Oh,
job is taking him there, so he's
yeah.
not here.
Yeah,
There's text. We can always text.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You said your family land. How long has the family land been in the family?
1700s.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a story, and we have found it to be true, that one of our predecessors were Scottish, both sides of the family, and McClellans. So when the king gave one of our ancestors all of Holmes County,
back in the 1600s.
Wow.
So we came over in the late 1600s, early 1700s, and we settled Holmes County. And there's actually a fort that they had built up on a bluff, and the pilings are still there because my older brother's a surveyor, so he found all that. And there are stories about how they would be in the fort and the Indians would attack, and all the farmland down there while the guys were farming, they would call them back to the fort because the Indians were there. And it's a real fascinating, it's not just a story, it's history, but it is a story for us. We can tell the story. But it's really neat to have all that lineage go back that early. So,
And needless to say, we don't own all of Holmes
No.
County anymore.
no, maybe about 20 acres.
I'm trying to remember where Holmes County is.
About an hour north. straight
Okay.
north.
So is it in the
Delta.
Delta?
Goodman, it's not quite Delta.
Not
no.
quite Delta, it's Durant and
Lexington and West.
Lexington West.
Oh, that's
all
right.
of
They
those
have
areas.
Holmes County, Holmes
Yeah,
County
it's up
College.
55.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it like Madison County, then Holmes County? If you're going up 55?
I
think
think
it's-
so. It's
yeah.
something like that. It's not very far. It's like an hour from here to his house. So
Yeah.
not
Nice.
very far.
Yeah. Does your brother, y'all know if there's any Indian mounds on that property?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
There's
was
a lot of
actually thinking
Indian
the fort
history
was
there.
probably built on an Indian mound.
Probably was. I don't know if there's an Indian mound, but I will tell you that there is a lot of history around there that is about the Indians that were there.
And
Yeah.
my brother is a storyteller that lives there. He talks about the wars and like Revolutionary Civil War, and they're the headstones of my family that are buried there during those wars. And there's big stories about the land there, and he knows because he's a surveyor. He's been out to every bit of it and all over the country, and found the stories that go with our family. And they just when he tells them, it's just a passionate thing for him, and imparting those family stories is really important to us. And we've done that on both sides of the family. So it's
Has
really
anybody
interesting.
written it down in a book?
There actually are a couple of books on the McClellans here in the US, and how they came over and where they ended up. And they went everywhere from Canada all the way through North America, but a lot of them did come down to the Mississippi area and settled around Holmes County. And we still have quite a bit of family there. If you talk about Holmes County and you say the word McClellan, that's probably 80% of the people that live in Holmes County are McClellans. So,
Or somehow.
So, yeah,
But when they saw us, they said, "Ta-da!"
here we are. That's it. An interesting thing too is that on our mother's side, which she's a big genealogy person, they can trace our family lineage back through France and England and France, and we have a quite a bit of genealogy that she's incredibly proud of, because it had they wear crowns or dukes or whatever, and
Yes.
and she loves that, and it's fascinating. I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks that she's put together, but actually they trace us all the way back to William the Conqueror. He was our grandfather, and
Nice.
his grandfather was Rollo the Viking from the Viking show. So
Oh, wow.
not the same kind of person, because they have
Right.
Hollywood eyes.
not
That.
the same story, but it's the same person. So anyway, he was in Normandy. He was given Charlemagne's daughter's hand and got deeded the land of Normandy in France. So that's Rollo the Viking. So we go all the way back on my father's side. The McClellans go all the way back to the 1200s with the Picts in Scotland that lived in northern Scotland, to the Picts that were there when the Romans came over and tried to invade all of England. And we're the ones that not the McClellans, but the Picts are the ones that Hadrian built the wall, not to keep everybody else in, but to keep us out because we were kicking his butt. And so Hadrian built a wall to keep away from the Picts, to let the Picts have their land. And those are our people. So we can trace back a long way. And I personally have been contacted by a Viking man and a Viking woman as my ancestor. And I've been introduced to them as my ancestors. So they come through strong. Those Viking people will come through strong, and they're my protectors. And they let no bones, there's no bones about it. They are protector.
In the stories, did you ever hear from them or others about that Vikings may have come to the North American continent way before it's recorded?
Mhm.
Have you guys had any feeling on that?
I don't know about in our personal ancestry, but
The Vikings, certainly.
we definitely have heard a lot about the Vikings being in North America. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
I
heard
don't
a
know
lot
if
about that.
if that's like not confirmed by, traditional history, but I have heard it through other,
Mainstream archaeologists won't admit to it,
No,
but
they
they've been here.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just too much evidence.
Mhm.
They've been here.
Have you guys heard the redheaded giant stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've wondered if were those just Vikings?
Could be.
Maybe, and who knows?
Maybe that's why everybody was scared of them.
Yeah.
But we're a family of redheads.
I was gonna
Redheads.
say, and the whole time I was hoping you guys would talk about your heritage, because I was like, sometimes I can say it sounds racist sometimes when you say, "Now, what are you?" But
No, we're
I,
proud of it. In fact, my mother actually, in her genealogy, traced my dad's family and her family all the way back to the same small town in Scotland.
Oh my
So,
God.
isn't that neat?
yeah,
But it was around the 900s or something like that where she found that little piece of information. And as a matter of fact, this town is called Kirkcudbright, and it's in the very southern part of Scotland, and we still have a McClellan Castle there.
Oh
That
my
is
goodness.
It's
wow.
really neat.
Not that we own it,
No.
but it's there. It's got our name on it.
have you guys done the ancestry DNA stuff, or is it just
Yeah, Yeah. Yep.
So
have.
I did some, and I don't know that you've done
I
it
haven't
yet.
done it yet.
Emily's
We've
done it.
My daughters have done it, but I haven't done it.
We've got Scottish.
Yeah.
Some, but not as much as you.
Yeah. I'm like, I think it's like 65% British and 25% Scotland. And then the rest is like a little bit of French and a little bit of Viking. So Scandinavian.
Interesting.
Kind of crazy.
But y'all's were different too, which is interesting.
They can be.
I would
Yeah.
be really interested to know if the twins did it and were they identical? Were their results identical?
Never have done it, but maybe something we should pursue. That'd be cool.
I've done it. My older brother's done it. And we were not identical. He had a lot more, he had more Irish in his than I did. I was more British and he was more Irish and Scottish with some French. I'm a little French and a little Scandinavian. He had no Scandinavian in his, but we know it's there. We know it's in our genealogy. It's in mine. It's in my mother's. And so we're actually,
our percentages were not the same either for every.
yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we're not identical twins, but I have heard that identical
But we
twins.
think we got the same parents. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you
they did
guys
show
theoretically should have inherited the same percentages, right? If you're
Don't
identical.
know.
Well, we have the same DNA,
Right.
we've done enough looking into that we have discovered that that our children are considered brothers.
What?
I think I
Wow.
did hear that once.
I did a paper on twins, and one of the things you said is about I pushed her out when in the womb.
Yeah, yeah.
Twins, identical twins, when they first are formed, are the same cell and they split. So we are the same person. Somebody told me once one of us could commit a murder and you couldn't tell which one had done it by the DNA.
Right.
By the fingerprints. But anyway, when I did the paper, the one thing I did was talk about our own language and all the things that you hear about twins. And we do have that. And we in fact, Janet was saying one time that we go shopping together sometimes, but sometimes it's me and Janet, sometimes it's me and Karen, sometimes it's all of us. And but when I go with Janet, we don't talk. We just ride in the car and go to the stores and say, oh, I like this. But when I'm with Karen,
And then
we
they're on
gotta shut up.
opposite side of the stores and hold up the same shirt to show each other, you know.
Buy the same birthday cards for people. You know, it's a lot like that. But the teacher didn't believe the paper. She didn't believe that it was true, but it is. And I think being that our genes are the same, we have the same brain. We share that brain that was originally formed, and so there's no need to there's no need to talk sometimes because we just know. And I didn't ever think about us not talking until she said something about it. But we just, when we were working on a project together, we never talk. We just know what the other one's going to do.
In other
And
words,
it's-
we don't say, how are you doing today? Because we already know. We don't have to,
Yeah.
we already know.
Yeah, she went into labor. We got pregnant at the same time. She went into labor, and I went into premature labor because her
Wow.
baby was a month older than mine. And then, but I felt it. I remember sitting on the stairs at home and hurting so bad, thinking Janet must be in labor. And I didn't have a phone at the time. Back in the day, sometimes in rural communities, you didn't have a phone, and I didn't have a way to call her. So, but found out it was. So.
Very interesting.
Do y'all share the same guides? Or, well, do you have guides? I mean, Janet, did you say
Me?
you have guides? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Mine are more in the form of angels. I have
Oh.
angels that follow me around and help me and stand between me and any kind of danger. And I don't think of them, I mean, I think of them as guides, but I don't have like Indian guides or whatever. I'm sure that I do, but I haven't pursued that. But the angels just come to me naturally. So what about you? Do you have guides?
I have no idea. But if I had to choose, I think mine would be more angels too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of was brought up last night, and I had
Yeah,
no
tell her
idea.
about last night. Do you feel like it?
Oh, yeah, just
Yeah.
I was so disappointed. Well, not disappointed, but I did the past life regression, and I wanted to have, you know, a little, like Krista had a certain little story she can share later, but if she wants, but I wanted to, see a little lot, go there and see
Like
my
see a little past
family and
life
see
movie
a-
in her mind of
No,
like, oh, I
I
did this and I lived here. And
Yes, I stayed in a field that was from this time in a memory. And then I was on a cloud as a geometric shape, no face, no,
That's
Wow.
awesome.
just white, just kind of white and glowing.
that's what I
as
told her.
if
So
was
you
an
just like
angel.
skipped 3 steps that people like.
Yeah,
Amen.
she did.
And my whole point, I wrote it down because I'm kind of walk, play, trust is all that I was ever told. Like, it's almost like I was up there. My granny was there. Jennifer, I think, was there, but she was kind of like her back was turned. And there's us three, and we're all kind of sitting on a cloud looking down and kind of like, and I'm like, ooh, I really do want to I want to experience life as a human, kind of, that's kind of like,
Wow.
you got to remember to walk and play and trust. And in 18, our mother had passed away when I was 18, and I had left home, and I was at that time of like going to college and figuring out what I'm going to do with my life. And I had to really learn trusting God and be alone. So I was just there alone, but I wasn't alone.
Right.
I was in the middle of a field, and I just would walk that field when I was growing. Before I went to college, I'd walk that field every day, and I lost weight. It was just the future was there, and I was leaving all this pain of watching my mother die. I was her caretaker in the hospital, and I had quit.
You
I
quit
didn't.
school.
Yeah, I quit school to take care of her. So
Wow.
I was at, and I left home. So I was at that point of, I'm going to live now, and what do I do? And again, walk, play, trust. And that's what I have to do right now.
That's
The
beautiful.
whole, that was the whole thing. I was on the cloud, and I was in that field, and I wanted to go, and I had flashes of other things that would come and go a little, but I'm like, I
So
didn't.
she's upset because, like Krista said, she's upset because she skipped 3 stages and went straight to your
She
higher
asked, "Did you
self
die?"
and to your.
Yeah, she asked, "Did you die?" I'm like, "No, I didn't experience death. I didn't see my feet. I didn't see my hands."
It's because where you were, there's not any death.
Exactly.
Yes.
She was over there.
I've always
She
had
was there.
I've always had a connection with Enoch in the
From the Bible.
Bible.
Mhm.
And I don't know, but Enoch and John the Baptist and some other people, and it's prepare the way. That's always been my prepare the way. Walk, trust, play, and
Keep
prepare
the
the
love.
way. That's my call in my life. And
That's beautiful. That's your mantra.
yes, and I'm glad I wrote it down because I've already forgotten it. But my granny was there, and she modeled that for me. And
She
I'm
did.
not sure about soul families or anything like that. And I don't know where Krista was.
I was in France living my.
And I know, but Jennifer was kind of there. Like I said, she was kind of there. But yeah, so yeah, so that's kind of where I hung up. But it was just so amazing to see a light being with no features.
Mhm.
And I
Our
was
spirit
thinking,
guide is,
you know,
is an upside down triangle.
yeah, with an oval face, with like shoulder pads, Wait, what's
You
going
need,
on?
you need to look into sacred geometry.
That's what she just told me. I
Yeah.
mean, she told me that. But anyway,
You
yeah.
said you've
But
been,
Emily, don't feel like you didn't have that. I think, to me, what you were given was an incredible gift. I mean, so
Thank
many of
you.
us are tied to a Native American or a Japanese spirit guide or whatever, which I have, but
Yeah.
but when you can get somewhere where you can bypass that, girl, you're there.
That's what I'm
Same
saying.
light
I
beings.
have never felt that there was ever a go-between. It was
There
just
you go.
direct.
There
It's
you
just
go.
direct.
Yeah.
And I don't, but that's nothing special about me. It's just,
That's how you roll.
that's just, yeah.
That's how she rolls.
Uh-huh.
I do not have to pray through something. I've always,
That's right.
I've been always given, don't waste your time with toys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't need a channeler. You do not need to have someone to help facilitate our communication. You've always had it with me.
Wow.
But we are collaborators, so therefore it is nice to work with the tools.
Oh, right.
And it
No,
is nice
no,
to-
it is nice to realize that I'm human as well, because I got to figure out how to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Right.
Live.
What
But,
a drag, huh?
in the Bible, I've always resonated with the character of Mary, not Martha, who sat at Jesus's feet. And that has always
Mary
been
Magdalene,
like,
is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
yes. And I've always been the one who just sits and bees, and
I was a Martha.
and you were the Martha.
I'm a recovering Martha.
But I do get provided for. I'm saying God always provides for me, but I do sometimes want to control. But I just like to listen. It's like
You're doing a lot of
like-
talking today.
I know.
No, that's
No,
good.
but
That's good.
I've had
She
my
needs to.
I've had my moments of searching, but I've never really felt like I'm still searching. I feel like I've always known it. I've already found what I was looking for. But I had to, the fear that everybody has influenced
The old
you on.
programming.
Right.
Work it through.
So we did grow up in we call it a cult, Christian cult, but a very strict Christian. So we have
Yeah.
a lot of which we've all, even though Emily still identifies with Christianity, we've all done our recovery from church. Not that there's anything wrong with church, but it's just for us. have gone to church here and there in my adult life, but where was I going?
We'll find out in just a moment where Chris is going with that after this short break. Make sure to visit our website, metaphysicalms.com, if you are a business owner or a practitioner and have a event or class you would like to add to our calendar. Check out our Submit a Listing page. Now back to the show.
I guess what I was trying to say is we did have a lot of old programming to work through, and come to each of us have our own little way that we still connect with source, or have our own little different relationship of who we may label as Jesus, or
Right.
So even though we came from the same beginning, we're not all at the same place at the moment. But it's not like I'm here, Jennifer's here. It's not a hierarchical thing. It's a fluid spiral of being in a different place. Which is we were talking about driving here, which this isn't a question, but
Go with it.
yeah, but we were talking about how children or siblings can come from the same biological parents, same upbringing, so they've got the heredity and the environment technically seem the same, but they can all turn out so different. And I was listening to something on Instagram or something. Someone was interviewing a psychologist about narcissists. Why if there's a family of siblings, one might be a narcissist and the other's not, when they had the same upbringing.
Right.
And the psychologist was like, well, no, they really didn't have the same upbringing. Each child, their birth order, their personality, the way the parent interacts with them, the way they interact with their, that all does affect. And so I think my question is, even though in some ways y'all have a lot of commonalities in your practice and where you are right now, but in other ways you are different. So what is the question?
I don't know. Do you want to ask him about, was it a birth order question, or
Well,
how?
also is how can one person be a narcissist in the same family and the other one's not be? And the reason is because you were all born at different times, therefore you
So
all
we're going
have
to change the
different
question
experiences.
as not the
or
question,
your
but maybe
outlook on the family is different.
the awareness that
Perspective.
people can grow up in the same environment and then have a different belief system from that.
Right. Oh, we did.
And
for sure.
and a totally different experience.
And then we all three resonate really differently. Some things we share and some things we do not.
Right.
Like one of the things we were in disagreement, and I won't go into it too much, but like my modalities, there are some modalities we all share, and then there are some modalities that turn me off, and some the mine that turn her off. And it's very clear to me that I shouldn't be doing that modality for me, something that may be dear to her heart. And then something that's dear to my heart, they may have no interest in whatsoever or feel weird about that. And it's like, we can't judge each other. We have to be like, okay, I'm just not comfortable with that, but I am comfortable with this.
And is there competition in your birth order?
Yeah.
I mean, you compete.
Do y'all find that y'all all share an understanding of all the modalities, or do y'all find that some people just like you might want to do something and another one be like, ooh, I'm not into that? Or y'all
I got to tell you from my standpoint, when I was 16, I met a boy, and instead of going to do things that I wanted to do in life or felt like that I was drawn to, I got married, had 3 sons, joined the church when I was 16, and I was a very fundamentalist Pentecostal church, and became a teacher and then a pastor or a preacher. And I was in it for 25 years. Did these girls do that? No.
Were
But
y'all
when I
able
came,
to maintain a relationship during that period?
well, sometimes it was difficult because I wanted to preach at them, and that was my thing. And
When I got into Reiki, she didn't agree with it at all. She thought it was taboo, and then I was
Even though you did the laying on of hands.
oh yeah, yeah. And I was very I was what they call, one of my gifts was prophecy. And now I'm an aura reader. So who would have thought? But I remember going with Karen to market the first time, and I was like, I'm protecting myself.
She was out of her element. Well, the thing is that I was going to market, and it was down in Orlando where she lived near there. So I said, Sonny, let's go spend some time together and come to market with me. And it'll be like a little vacation, because it'd be like 4 days. I got a hotel room. We got a car. We'll go out to eat,
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm thinking we're going shopping.
Right.
No.
So I go to a new age, what's called the new age market. And so that's what I'm doing. My store isn't open yet, but I'm preparing for that. And so I get her to go with me. And as we're walking down through the aisles, I'm just like going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm just so excited to be there. And she's like, yeah, what is that? Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
And she's going, oh my God, oh my God.
And I remember when I first started drawing away from that, and I was trying to reconcile my faith with what I was starting to believe, and it was so hard. And the first thing I did that was so bad, and I just knew I had to do it, was buy a deck of tarot cards.
I know. It's like, this is my first one I bought. Oh,
Did y'all hear
Some of them now.
Welcome, sister.
But
Welcome, sister.
I will tell you, Emily, that it was very difficult for me because I was sold out. And you know what I mean? Sold out to Jesus. And I'm in everything in me, everything I did, I walked that path. And when I got a spirit guide. I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was a demon. So anyway, I did. But when all this started happening, I would call Karen because I knew she knew woo-woo stuff and I didn't. So I'd call her and she says, oh, that's a spirit guide. What's a spirit guide? But it became this big thing for me. And I actually had a happening in the church, and I feel like God or source or whatever you want to call it instigated that. He was instrumental in getting me away from that fundamentalist belief into what I now find is the greatest source of love I've ever known. And to me, that is God, or that is the creator, or that is source. And I believe with all my heart, when I'm channeling or when I'm doing aura reading, I'm going directly from him, directly from these spirit guides. Everything that he has ever sent to me is a gift. And that's the way I see it. And the more I experience, the more I realize God is in that. And I think now, after 25 years or however I've been gone, I have learned that I know people who say things at work about the Bible, and I can quote scripture like that, and I can say, I can deal with them on their level and not ever have any, animosity or anything about that, because I know it finally came to me that God had a purpose for me other than the church. The church was too narrow for me. And when I let go of that boundary, I blossomed into something that is so much bigger than me. So much. I was so confining God to a little box. And all of a sudden, it was like the top was blown off the box, and God became as big as I knew he was somehow. And it's been a journey at times, but other times I'm just so free. And that's I open myself up to that life force energy, and that's where I get my readings from.
And this
I
is
will
very
say-
interesting. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that too, that even though we would talk about a lot of that stuff because we were kind of woo-woo kids, and even though we talk a lot about that, as each of us would take on certain belief systems or experimenting or putting our toe in certain belief systems, and some of us jump straight in the water and stayed there. Um, um, we talked about a lot of things, but we still had a level of respect between us that I knew where her buttons were, and I didn't cross that. I didn't step on those toes, because and with her and then with me, I knew that whatever I was believing or feeling like I needed at that time was where I was, and we just never crossed
And
that
that's kind
line
what
of
we're trying to
respect.
feel out right now, because even year and a half ago, when I came to visit, Emily was still not wanting to talk about this stuff. Remember?
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable with it still. And now Krista and I have had similar beliefs, but now we're kind of having a little bit of odds.
Well,
with-
they said last summer I wouldn't shut up about it.
you know what I mean? When you find something new for the first
Yeah.
time, it's like
She
you're in
done joined
love.
the cult. No.
Well, like we said, we just don't want to talk about it every minute,
Yeah,
but it's like a
right.
balance. And I like to hear that you guys have all been through that process as well, because it is a process, and it's very important to us to maintain the health of our interactions and not let those things divide us. I mean, we are very much aware that, it takes some work.
It does.
Well, I was gone for 13, 14 years out west. So a lot of mine happened while I was alone, basically.
Yeah.
And we'd go through phone calls or whatever, but there was a lot of it mine that was just plain soul searching, kind of alone time. So that's how I came to mine. It just happened.
So being a twin, when your twin was going through something that was like way different than what you were experiencing spiritually, were you guys able to reconcile that? Or was that a difficult time?
It was different. It was we still loved each other and we're real close, but at the same time, I didn't discuss religion with her and she didn't discuss metaphysics or anything.
I did tell her Reiki was not something she should be doing. Now we're both Reiki masters. So each of words at some point.
Basically, she told me I was going to go to hell for
Basically.
it. But I'm so glad that we got past that. And, when she started her journey, I just left her alone, basically, and let her find her way. I didn't try to influence her or point her in the direction or say, hey, look at this or anything. I just let her do her thing. And that when she finally got to where she is today, I think I feel like she sort of surpassed me, but really it's not. It's like
Emily's gonna pass us both up.
yeah. Well, I think it's we each have our own things. I think it's not surpassing, but what I think she does is really cool. I wish I could do it, but I don't have that ability.
But when I had questions coming out of that fundamentalist church, Janet was my first contact about Reiki, because all I knew is I was meant to be a healer. And I had to search something that did that. And Karen offered me that opportunity by saying, well, this is something you might want to look at, because it's the same thing you've been doing, is laying hands on people. So she taught me about it. She gave me a book, and she said, here. And basically she said, here's the door, open it if you want to. And I went in, both feet, head first, just gone. And I think that's how I do most things in my life, just go totally in. And but Karen was always there to offer the opportunity or the way that I could get to that thing that I was looking for. And when I became into the shaman area of my life, to me that was a lot like prayer. But on the other hand, the channeling that I did and stuff fit into that shamanic way of being too, because you have to share yourself, and you have to put yourself out there. And God to me is the instrument, but and it says that you're conduit of God's life force through you. But to me, it's my feet there, it's my energy there, and I'm the one who has to open up and use it. And that's what Karen offered me, was some way to reconcile that fundamentalist Christian faith with who I am today. And honestly, it's become a great blend of the two. And but I lean so much more on my spirit guides and things like that. And I've got some too. And some totem animals and a little bit of everything in there. But I think we all as sisters have found a way, especially since we've all come home. We've all are here and we're together, and things change your life and you become closer. And now we support each other so much in what we do. And like, I'll get messages for Karen or Janet, and Karen will certainly get them for me. And Janet's just there supporting everybody.
Well, like my partner Val, and I don't know if any of your men in your life or partners in your life have any feel the same way, but he knows the power of three sisters, and he's like, I ain't getting in that,
Yeah.
And then he's like a little fearful of it.
He needs to be.
Yeah, but I am far away right now, and I had noticed, and that's because I'll come back, I'll be gone for a long time, but it became very clear to me the reason why we having these little pop-up disagreements. But I had one with her and I had one with her, and I was like, what? I was not going to do this.
Who's the common denominator? No.
But part of it is because I am away.
Yeah.
And part of it is I feel like I'm trying to decide, because I'm very tied to the land here, but I'm also learning something. And at some point I feel like I will come back, and I'm not sure when that time should be. And my partner loves being over there, and I'm homesick, and it's a great job I have there. And, there's a lot of decisions to make, but I think when I'm not here having the frequent, like you said, that you all came home, I think that it would be less tension if I was home, if I was here more.
Sure.
And of course, COVID, I never planned to be gone a year and a half. I was like, when my partner said, let's go to Hawaii, I was like, okay, but I got to come home 3-4 times a year because I cannot be away from my sisters.
Even though she had a son.
Yeah,
in the state
and I have a
too,
son with his father up in Oregon, and I said, I cannot. And the land is like my family. I am very connected to the land here, and I said, and Hawaii is beautiful, but it is not home to me.
Yeah.
It's a whole different energy. And so it is to me, it's like, okay,
But you told him when y'all left, and he agreed that you would go, but you needed to come home.
But then COVID
3-4 times a year. But then that
got, because Hawaii got
COVID
very
stopped
strict. Hawaii was one of the strictest states about anything, and it was all like process and quarantine, and then it was just a nightmare about going home, and that made me feel more isolated. So now I'm trying to get back into it. So I'm hopefully be coming home more. But
we're talking about relationships, and y'all do not have to share anything about your relationships if y'all don't want to, but your significant other, do y'all have tension between the sisters and the significant other? And like, we feel this need to do things together, and and my husband doesn't understand the need to be with family.
he's an only child.
What are y'all doing? What do y'all mean? Y'all want to go just sit and talk? Y'all go to old people's house and just talk, and
My significant other always says, let me take a picture before you go, because I may have to bail y'all out of jail. But yeah, she's a little, she loves for me to go, but she wants me to come home after a little while, because it's her time. And so when I spend a lot of time with
them is, we only can do it for so long, so many hours, and then we got to come home.
We lose time when we're
Yeah, it's
together.
gone.
See,
Me too,
my
we do
partner
too.
experiences that, and we live in a very tiny home. I mean, a real tiny home in Hawaii. And so if I Zoom with them, we can be on the phone 3 or 4 hours, the three of
Yeah.
us, and we don't know what's happened. And he's like, I can't sit over here and be quiet for 3 hours. And plus, he doesn't want to be in the sister discussion.
Right.
And you
right.
hear all that. It's like right
Yeah.
back to him, and and he's like, I can't get away from it, and so I try to, when I know we're going to talk and we're not, I try to go in the car.
But then
or-
she's 5 hour difference, so we
Oh,
don't
wow.
talk very
Yeah.
much.
yeah.
I know
try
my
to stay at the
husband,
office.
my husband that passed away, he actually wanted to be one of us.
Oh. What
He
about
had the same birthday as me and Gwen, so he thought he was one of the twins.
Yeah.
He was a triplet.
He didn't want to miss a thing. He wanted to be right in the middle of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gwen is my middle name, and it's what my family calls me. So if you hear Gwen, it's Sunny.
Oh, gotcha. I understand.
Anyway, yeah, but I'm fortunate enough not to have a significant other right now. I got rid of all of them, and I'm happy about that. And I have my own little gypsy shack here, and I am my own person doing my own thing, and I'm very content. And Karen doesn't have anybody significant in her life except maybe Duane.
Duane,
Her bestie.
Her bestie.
my bestie. Yeah.
And I have work. I enjoy my work, so I'm good. And then doing my R readings and helping people is my other thrill in life. And I'm content with that for now. I'm not looking for anything else. Do y'all spend a lot of time at the Soul Synergy Rock and Crystal Place? Do y'all ever go there?
I don't.
Krista took me
I've
by
never
there
been.
last year and a half ago. She took me by there, and we visited. Did we visit both stores or just one? I think you took me to the one over.
The new one.
Yeah. But I love those places.
I had no attraction to objects like that.
You ought to go in. It's a beautiful store, and you can see
Yeah.
what's out there. I mean,
you haven't
and-
been to.
You need to go to the salt cave. You
Yeah.
need to go in the salt cave.
Yeah.
if you've got an attachment to the earth, then you really need to go in the salt cave and take some time in there. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But I
probably enjoy that.
I would love.
I have not been
For
to
us to
the
do
new
that.
one yet.
I haven't been to the new one either.
Maybe we should
But-
go together.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
We would never shut up.
No, you're supposed to be quiet in there. I don't know if it would work, but I know Krista used to come into the salt cave when I worked there.
I was gonna
and
say,
at the
Carol
other
remembered
store.
that me and the salt cave were like the
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
buddies.
Look, there's some really incredibly spiritual things that would happen to people in the salt cave now. I'm telling you, it's got some magic in there. And again, I don't know about the new one. I'm just talking about the old one, but I'm sure it's the same thing because it's all.
Is the old one still
Oh.
there?
The old one's not there anymore. They've moved everything to the new area. They've gotten another space, and they've got an acupuncturist, and they've got a couple of other people that are renting space from them, and they've got the salt cave there now that they built. So
So
Very
yes,
nice.
I
it's
have
pretty
not.
cool.
We're going to take a short break. Just want to thank everybody for all the support we've received. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. You can find the links on our website at metaphysicalms.com.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I have to tell you, when you come back, I want to make some time to go walk with you.
Okay.
Because I'm a tree person. The trees talk to me.
Well, do
And-
any
and
of
I've
you
always-
do land work?
Well, I know a lot about it, and I've done it sort of just playing, but I haven't really done it lately that I would think it was like,
Well, Krista has said
Lead.
before that she's gonna bring a group down to the property sometime that where I live, where Emily's living, but it's my home.
So I don't even know
But
if we've
we-
shared much about
yeah.
this, but the property that she owns now was the same. It's a different house, but it's the same property where our grandmother had that property, and we didn't realize this growing up till we were adults that was a major Native American
Sacred
complex,
site.
mound, like,
Ceremonial complex in our house
Oh my gosh.
the land that our house, the old one was on and the new one is on was like where one of the mounds was, but all the site was destroyed.
it was,
horribly destroyed. It was
Oh,
an
no.
82-foot great mound, they called it, that was completely
it was a
destroyed.
conical.
It was
Oh, man.
actually one of the tallest mounds in the United States in the 1930s before it was destroyed. But Huey P. Long built it. You took all the dirt out of it and made
To build a bridge.
to build a bridge.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
archaeologists were from the Smithsonian were trying to save it, but they couldn't get there fast enough.
Oh,
But it
wow.
had 8 or 9. It was a huge ceremonial complex there. We didn't even know growing up that it was that.
I remember
site.
seeing those brown signs, you know, the
Yeah.
brown, like,
Yeah.
marker,
Yeah.
this is a historical
Uh-huh.
landmark
Yeah.
sign. I remember seeing them. We just never even, it wasn't talked about. They didn't talk about it in school. Like, they
No,
didn't even.
we never knew about it in school, but I had a
Wow.
lot of metaphysical experiences when I was a kid, and then I would see lights and I'd see stuff, and I came in, I tell everybody I came in seeing 4D because I saw all the stuff, all the boogeymen, and I
Wow.
saw everything, and my parents, all they could tell me was it was demons. Yeah.
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 Oh,
So
my
that
Lord.
did not help.
We came with the trace, so we stopped at Emerald Mound, and you did give, well, I'm not gonna share what you did, but she did stop by a tree when we were there to do something on a
there,
tree.
I don't know if you ever seen the trees that have like maybe 3 or 4 things and there'd be like a hand. I've started to see those as hands. There's a particular tree that I go and I give offerings to on the island. It's kind of near our house. We'll take a walk. It's by the cliffs of the ocean. And that's where I went and I go and give offerings a lot of times there. And so I saw it when we got to Emerald Mountain. I saw a tree. I was like, oh, so this is the kind of things the spirit tells me. These are portals because these trees are similar. So I brought dirt. So I brought from Hawaii. So I was like, okay. And I put the dirt, on that tree, and I say, look, and I give it the image of the tree in Hawaii, and I say, is your partner, in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Pen
Yeah.
pals now.
Yeah. And I can feel them both get really happy because
Yeah.
they're just like, wow. And then in my mind's eye, then there's this line of light that that connects between where I've connected them. And I'll take some dirt from home and I will give it to the tree over there. And, that's just, and these are just things that come to me just.
You didn't read it in a book, say you need to do.
No,
what
because
you
a
see.
lot of, I have
Yeah.
studied with some people that want to get real technical about crystal work. But my way of doing it is not as technical in science. It's more,
Is it called intuitive? Oh,
Yes.
that's not, okay.
I mean, it's more like, I try getting real technical, but I can't.
No, that's almost a fundamentalist way. I mean, you can have
can't do it.
fundamentalist new age people too.
Yeah, that's.
And,
what-
Yeah,
and they
you're
believe
right.
that their way is the only one way to do something.
Yeah.
And that's not the real way either.
And-
Totally intuitive, like you're doing it.
But I tried being vegetarian and vegan at one time because some of the practitioners were like, hey, you really need to do this to really get the energy. And you know what? I did experience some communication during that period that I didn't, but I cannot at this right now. If I do that, my blood sugar goes through the roof. I can't just be a vegan. I cannot be a vegetarian. So when I was training with her and learning grid
protein.
work, she was
Yeah.
like, she could tell, like we were all doing a group thing long distance. I mean, through the internet. And she was like, if you eat meat, just don't even bother. I can feel the meat eaters. And I was like, I'm done with her because I'm, I don't think we're all the same. I do think
Yeah.
that there are some people who need to be vegan because that was worked with them. And I think there's people who need to be vegetarian. But
And there's some of us who cycle in and out of those.
what's really
Yeah.
funny is that when I sometimes do a carnivore approach, and I don't do it all the time, you can get the same feeling that you get from being a vegan by being a carnivore. It depends on the person, and it depends on,
I am not doing low carb or paleo right now. But the truth is, when I did eat that way, I felt so much better. So do I
have a
sacrifice my
Yeah.
physical because I feel
No, it's all about your intention. And I have a friend who has been vegetarian for many, many years, but they have recently begun to eat meat again because they were told to do that. And they fought it and fought it and fought it and didn't want to do it, didn't want to do it because of the animal. They felt the love for the animal. And they were told to simply thank the animal and be in
Yes.
thankfulness for it. And they said, oh my God, the difference in my body is tremendous. And that they felt so much better just having a little bit of animal protein every day. And
it is possible
makes a world of difference.
we may be as a species ascending to different dimensions or levels to where our physiological needs will change, and maybe we are in the process of doing that. But if we try to, you gave the analogy today at home this morning, the biblical analogy of, I don't know if it's a biblical thing, but you don't give a 6-month-old a steak.
Oh, you have to give them, mother's
Right, and
milk.
so if
You can't feed them.
so maybe we are transitioning. Well, I would be fine just to live on solar energy. I wish I could just like forget all this eating stuff. I mean, eating takes a lot of time. And maybe we are evolving to that, but I'm not there today.
I'm not there yet.
Today,
And
my
honestly,
blood sugar needs to be stable.
that's right.
And
And honestly, if you try to force something because somebody outside of you has said, oh, you've got to be this or you've got to be that, because I know carnivores can be just as weird as vegans.
They can.
And I'm sorry, not I'm trying to say weird, but people who just get
die
really
hard.
It's weird.
Fundamentalists.
like
Fundamentalists,
say
yeah.
we can only eat this or we can only eat this. And I'm also against the food pyramid that says you got to do it in this configuration. That doesn't work for me either.
You have to do what's right for your body,
Yes.
what you feel best doing. Yeah.
Yes, and that's a process. And if you're listening to other people, you're really not sometimes going to hear what's right for you. Even
Well,
though
I don't know about y'all, but a good greasy cheeseburger every now and then hits the spot.
We've been having a greasy cheeseburger every day this
I've been
week.
eating so many burgers. I am just ready to.
Oh, a burger showed up in my past life regression yesterday.
Wait, Emily, me too.
Krista too. Oh my God.
No, I was trying to find a
For
taco
both of
stand,
you?
and you were like, I need a cheeseburger.
Oh my God. That's too hilarious. Both of them had past life regressions when a cheeseburger showed up. I have something I want to say before we stop.
Please do.
And that is, I might have started a lot of this. Duane came in when she moved back home and picked it up and ran with it in other directions. But Krista, you are doing a phenomenal job with Metaphysical Mississippi.
Yes.
And not just that, you have taken it and just sent it into orbit. And you're doing such a great job. And I will tell you this, I knew you were doing a great job, but when Emily came into the picture, that's when it really,
I know.
I mean, it just gelled and y'all started doing the best job together. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you and what you both are doing and how you're really keeping the energy that I started as having a store called New Vibrations, because I was bringing a new vibration into Jackson. And I was told later that I was very successful at doing that. And then I thought, oh my God, well, who's going to do it now? And Duane was doing her thing, and that kind of held it together. But then when you took over and Emily came into the picture, y'all have just, I mean, it's just blossomed. And I just cannot say enough good about what you're doing, from the videos that you're doing, to the Facebook page, to the website that you've recreated, to the new things that you've got going on, to the place that you've got now, Krista, that I just absolutely feel like I am home when I come into your new place.
That's such
Y'all are just doing such a beautiful job.
It feels really good in here.
It does. It does.
It's awesome.
It does.
And I want to thank you too for doing it, because sometimes it takes a whole lot of courage to step out there, and you've certainly taken the bull by the horns and run.
And a whole lot of time.
You're doing things that Duane and I could never have done. And that was
And I'm
all,
not
that's
doing it
all
alone.
you.
And I'm
That's
not
all
doing it
you
alone.
love.
Well, I'm not
But
doing it alone.
she is really, I mean, she works 2 or 3
know.
jobs.
We were telling
Constantly.
Jennifer, like I get up, this is not shoot I get up
No, I see it. I know
between
how much
5:30
you-
and 6:30, go to my desk with my cup of coffee. I'm messaging Emily. And she used to be
Sleepy.
well, you still work late at night.
Yeah.
But now she gets up in the morning
I'm a night
Oh
owl.
my God.
and checks in with me that I come here. And she might get a nap in, she might not. I do what I got to do here. I get home at night, and then me and her are back talking I'm calling her from here. We get home and we're working till 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
What she just didn't realize is that I was just crazy enough when she said, let's do something. I was just crazy enough to do it. With your podcast.
I couldn't
Let's do it.
Like when she offered to help me, like you saw, I just kind of spinned my wheels for a year and a half.
But
Like
you did ask me. So it
Yeah.
was I want to give you that credit that you saw the need, and I am a qualified person to do it. Not that I've ever done this before.
experience doesn't give you.
But no,
I've never done this
I'm
before
saying
You can
but-
figure it out.
but we've worked together. You know who I am, and I know who you are. And because we're sisters, we know how each other thinks.
But this is the thing.
Well, I also have to say that when I was going to open my store, I couldn't do it by myself. My sisters came in and helped me. And they helped me in different ways. Gwen was with me for almost 5 years until I closed. Oh, sorry. 65 years of calling her Gwen. I cannot switch. I'm sorry. But Janet came and worked with us a lot. She decorated the whole place. She designed the whole place. We used to get orders in and just hand them to her. And she would just go put them all over the store. And she had the ability to do that where I just couldn't even deal with that. And they would work together a lot. But without them both, I could not have done what I did to get all of this started. And I want to tell you that it's all about the sisters. It's
I know,
all about the
because
sisters.
even though
I do
Jennifer's
feel
not
it.
here right now, like she's the one that was dragging me to the Indian.
And you may still, but even if she's physically not here, she can be here.
I'm
in
always, my
spirit.
heart's always here.
That's right.
Right.
I mean, I remember
right.
like in 2000, what was it? 12, at the end of 2012 when I really started tapping in to information. And now I feel like Krista is going way past me, you know,
But it's not
but
this.
you know,
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah.
No, but
constantly.
I was by myself in this world.
She was like,
And then
with Janet, she did a lot of solo stuff too.
and I bet you don't remember this, but I would talk to you and you'd be like, yeah.
I don't know about
you know,
that.
Yeah. And now she is looking at me and I'm going, nah. We've almost changed. She's
And I'll be looking at them going,
yeah. It's almost like the tables have turned, like I'm more conservative.
I
than
know.
she is. And then and Emily's gonna pass us both up.
I said, look, each hop in over.
Yeah.
I must say though,
I was born there already.
But honey,
all of you bring so much great things to the table. Jennifer, it's awesome to hear about what you do,
Oh, yeah.
because I've never even heard of that, but I think it's awesome. And then you girls, like Emily, you're just the smile.
You're the smile.
Thank you.
And I think that the part that you play with the video and all this stuff is really important to this community
It's
right
a
now.
whole new
'Cause-
dynamic that you brought in with all of that.
Right. And it's hard to get people in Mississippi to connect sometimes, but you're the conduit for that. So, you know, that's a big role to play and a lot of weight on your shoulders. And Krista, of course.
All
yeah.
prayers or whatever my way is very appreciative.
Yeah.
Because I had to take this week off because it finally caught up with me and I was exhausted. I knew
Because
she
she
was
still has
coming.
her little
I mean, I have another
part-time
job.
day job that
But
she's had for a few
I
years, trying to
didn't
still do that.
Realize really and I'm only doing one part of it. And then I'm like, I'm just totally exhausted. I cannot move. I mean, I haven't posted anything all week because I've been trying to get videos. I've got videos that I'm trying to get uploaded, but I had to take, 3 days off. And then I'm like, and Chris has been spinning her wheels for 2 years doing this. No wonder she's exhausted. But we're not going to be at this level. We're not going to be
And
exhausted
we're not
because
complaining.
we're going to
we
know
love
how
it. I have
to
no-
delegate and learn how to do that.
And it's not just my sisters. Like, there's so many. Like, I don't want to start rattling off names. Like, I just won an Academy Award. I'm afraid I'll lose my but there's so many people in our community. Karen, you were one of the first people I met at that first meetup that I went to.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, okay, so Jennifer dragged me to the Petrified Forest gift shop years ago, bought my first, I had bought crystals with my kids and would go to gift shops and they always wanted a little bag of crystals and I humored them. But Jennifer, you took me, and I wish I had them with me. You took me to the Petrified Forest gift shop and helped me pick my first crystal. It was a purple amethyst geode and an orange cat. Well, I went there because I did my little research. I guess purple amethyst, that seems kind of safe, like I read that. Okay, that's a good starter one. Rose quartz or purple amethyst, those two seem like we're okay. And but then I fell in love with this orange calcite, and I still sleep with that thing sometimes. But you took me there to pick those first two crystals, the big decent crystals, and then so when I went to that first meetup, and Karen Parker said she worked at I think you were working at the Petrified Forest.
Petrified Forest, yeah.
Oh, you worked there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so then I was like, there was the connection. Okay.
Yes.
I have a reason to go talk to her.
Yeah.
And I introduced myself. And so you were like you are a way shower, Karen.
Oh,
What year did you work there? You're not working there.
oh God, I don't remember. Several years ago. I don't remember the exact year. I'd have to look on my resume.
2017, maybe 2015, 2016, 2017.
It was about 2017, somewhere in there.
Metaphysical
I can't be
Mississippi
sure.
started in 2017, and at the end of 2017, like you were working there before you started working at Soul Synergy, right?
Right. I was working there, and then
Then went to Soul Synergy.
and then I worked somewhere else for like 30 minutes, and then I went to Soul Synergy.
When I first
And
woke
helped her
up,
open that
here's a
store.
really quick funny story. When I first woke up in 2013, I was getting a lot of communication from guides, I guess, but I was told I knew about I had taken my son on a field trip from school there. And I woke up one morning and I was told very clearly to go to that store and there would be a crystal there that I needed to buy. And I had just gotten a tax refund and I was like, okay. So,
and I thought she was crazy, but I went with.
Did you? I don't know.
I think I went.
I don't remember. And I bought
you didn't buy it the first time, right? You went and looked at it.
I don't know, but there was this big crystal. I still have it. It's in Hawaii with me now. It's huge. And it had a problem, so I got it for like 50% off. Because I was like, I don't know which one I'm supposed to get. And they kept saying 50% off, 50% off. And I'm like, which one am I supposed to get? But I got the 50% off one. It had a little crack in it or something. It was like a pillar and it had a point on it and had some red occlusions in it and huge crystal. So I get the crystal, and this is what I call part of my initiation, because when the rocks and minerals start talking to you. And then I picked it, and then I heard, now you know that waterfall that's way back in the military part that you can't get through because there's briars and bushes and whatever. You're gonna take me, you're gonna carry this on your backpack, and you're gonna go to the waterfall, and you're gonna clear this crystal. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you start getting this because it was like there's a waterfall in the middle in the military park that is like not supposed to go back there in Vicksburg. And so I was living in Vicksburg at the time, but I mean, you just get these downloads of what you're supposed to do. I don't even know what I'm doing. Right. But yeah, that's when I started going to the wilderness. And to me, those were the good old days, because there's nothing like when you're getting direct messages. You don't know where they're coming from. It's very magical. And you're just like, okay, here I go,
And then you start doing them, and then the synchronicities start popping, like,
Yeah,
validation.
that's right.
I don't even know what this means, clearing the crystal. I don't know what I'm doing, but okay.
I guess I just
Was it
watched
a quartz crystal?
Yeah,
Was it quartz? Okay.
huge. And then that crystal has gone with me everywhere, and it's with me in Hawaii right
and it's
now.
a clear quartz, but it's kind of yellowy. Isn't it kind of?
It's got some cloudiness to it.
Yeah.
It's pretty big though. And every time we go to it, we sell the ormus at shows, sometimes at like metaphysical fairs and stuff. And it would, like, if we bring the crystal, it becomes the star of the show. So we've stopped bringing the crystal because we're like, you know what? No, you staying home because we're going to show people ormus. Yeah.
Right. Oh, God.
Like, how much is this?
I'll go and I'll see Krista sleeping in her bed, and when she's laying, she's got a crystal behind. Right behind her back, and I'm like, y'all cray. I'm still like, why you got a rock in your back? So I'm not connected. I still have not. Me and Rocks,
You just have a casual relationship.
we don't. Yeah, you're a rock.
Just wait till they start talking to you.
But they don't. But the trees and birds and things, and what I liked, what you're talking about with the trees, I understand them communicate with you because the wind they can move and stuff. But I still don't understand how a rock can communicate with you.
Emily,
Just like a tree.
Emily, it sounds to me like you got your head up high. You just need to look down. The
need
rocks are on the ground. You like the birds and the trees. You like the birds and the
I
trees.
got no feet.
That's part of the message.
That's because I'm supposed to be walking. You have to have feet to walk. Flying, trust, and have play. It's walk.
Oh my gosh. She's so far up there, she's gonna be floating pretty soon. She's not gonna be worried about anything. She's just gonna be floating along.
Why am I playing around with things?
Yeah.
Because they're fun.
But I need to have play with things. but
Because
yeah.
it said to play. So
You're
the
right.
message
Yes.
is,
I need to skip some rocks.
do you need tarot cards to do your
No.
thing? No, but
But I
play
can
with
play
them.
And I have been
You
playing.
have
with them.
been.
I've been,
Because we came to
getting
Earth
drawing and then
to have this
showing.
physical experience and to manipulate. Well, when I say manipulate, I don't mean like manipulate, but
Oh, no.
to have tactile manipulation of physical objects.
Yeah.
So that's part of maybe why we come here. So it's like, if you're here, you might as well.
Yes. So yes, I do need to learn that. I mean, I
Me
need
too,
to.
because that's what part of my past life thing was. Like that past life, all I did was play.
Mhm.
Like, okay, well, I need to play more in this life.
Yeah.
And ate cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I think Deborah's like, I think it's dinner time.
I'm like, I'm hungry. I still got jet lag. I need to eat some meat.
Well, I thank y'all for being with us today. We had so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was wonderful.
Yes. And hopefully we'll have you back sometime in the future, and maybe we can pick a topic. I haven't decided how interactive we're going to be, but maybe in the future somebody can suggest a topic.
We might
They
revisit
may want us to.
this round table
Take
again.
it.
And
Good.
Emily, I think we'll have our guest sisters' names and contact information in the show notes if you want to reach out to Karen or
Yes.
Janet or Sunny, or Emily, Jennifer, or myself, our information will be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Great.
you. Bye.
So much fun. Thank you.
See you soon.
Again, we thank you for joining us. We may make this more than a one interview thing, so if you find a subject that you may want us to discuss with and bring the sisters back, we would love to hear from you. Just comment or send me an email, emily@metaphysicalms.com. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.